everybody? Welcome back to OTC Live. Here we are again, another week. Chris is late again, but we're here. I have focused on making sure that I am on time every week when we start. So Chris will be here. I'm sure he'll be here momentarily. Let me make sure that we get ready for him and stuff so that we can just go right to it. Let's see here. Yep. We'll be there momentarily. So he'll jump in, I'm assuming as soon as he can. But welcome back to the show, everyone. All kinds of fun stuff to talk about today. We, of course, are still going to I don't even know if shelter. No, not shelter, because we're what is it when you're heading on and you're continuing to fight? Let me get my chat room up here in front of me so that I can soldiering through. Wow, I forgot the word soldier. Go figure. Anyway, yeah, we are soldiering on with holiday horror movies. I watched All the Creatures Stirring and Better Watch Out. Both of those are available to watch on Shudder currently. I had seen All Creatures Stirring at Knoxville Horror Film Festival 2 or 3 years ago. Not this past year, but the year before, so 2018. Right? Yeah, 2018. Saw that there. It is the McKendries, Rebecca, and Dave, I think so. Rebecca is best known. She does some production work, but she also was one of the hosts of Shockwaves, the horror movie podcast, which is now going under a different name because Rob is no longer doing the show with them. So we're going to talk about that today. That's available on Shudder. They're both Shudder exclusives as far as I know too. And then Better Watch Out, which is one that was suggested to us last year. I think it was last year, or we were going through a list of some sort of different holiday horror movies. And I want to say that I think Chris maybe had watched it last year, and then we were like, he was like, "Oh, it was good," so we added it to the list for this year. So let's all welcome our good friend Chris Brickelmeyer back to the show.
Hi, here I am.
Hi, there you are. That's where you are. You're there. Austin Powers.
What were you talking about?
Better Watch Out.
No, before that. It was something I watched last year.
Wasn't that what you watched last year? Better Watch Out? Or maybe it wasn't you. Maybe it was somebody suggested that said, "Oh no, you should check that out. It's pretty good."
I think that because let me look it up and see.
All the Creatures Were Stirring. I watched All the Creatures Were Stirring and Better Watch Out were the two. I realized we were like, oh, the ones from Netflix or the ones from Shudder, and then I realized there's like 7 or 8 that are on Shudder.
What was Better Watch Out?
That was the babysitter.
Yeah. Those are the two I watched. That's new,
okay.
Isn't it?
2016 maybe.
Oh, I know the one I said that I watched that was based around Christmas holiday type stuff was Await Further Instructions.
Yes, that would be
dark.
It.
So
well,
but yeah, no, it was new to me when I watched it last.
Better
night.
Watch Out. Not exactly a real uplifting film either. But
well,
you were like,
what'd you expect?
Well, I mean, I don't know. Some of the, like Anna and the Apocalypse is uplifting-esque, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I think holiday movies, holiday horror can go one of two ways. It can have that wholesome Christmas feel at the end, or it can be we're going in the opposite direction with this.
Yes.
So we got the opposite directions this week.
We did. So, okay, first, not first, but I've already been talking for like 5 minutes. But if you have Amazon Prime, Safer Spaces, a film about Shauna Potter, which is the new documentary short that I directed and Kyle produced, is now available. You can watch it on Amazon Prime anytime you want. You just dial it up and you watch it.
Not just any time you want, but as many times as
anytime and as many times as you want. It's short, runs 20 minutes. It's about Shauna Potter, the lead vocalist of War on Women. War on Women is a feminist hardcore punk rock band. If you are labeling things, which I mean,
it's music. Don't label stuff. It's music.
No, I don't adhere to that because you know what? War on Women is music. And so is Haydn. And they don't
I don't know
sound
what that is.
And Haydn, classical.
Oh,
sorry,
Tchaikovsky.
Tchaikovsky.
That's music as well. See, one is contemporary, and
Okay
one
then.
is classical.
Okay then. I will raise you. War and Women is music,
Yes,
and so is Yo-Yo Ma.
that is true.
They don't sound the same. You have to label music. You have to label music. It's the same thing. I think we've had this argument on the show before.
Okay, no, that's fair. You have to label music, but you don't have to hyper label music.
No. I mean, but then you can be like, okay, well, if we're talking heavy metal,
Right.
Metallica is a heavy
Yeah.
metal band. I mean, I know it's questionable in 2020, but you could say
It
Metallica.
was questionable in like 2001.
Yes, Metallica is a heavy metal band, but so is Death Heaven. And they sound nothing alike.
They don't have to sound anything alike.
No, but like to be like, oh, it's heavy metal. Some people consider Nickelback heavy metal.
Well,
Does
that's
Nickelback
pop.
does Nickelback sound like no, but that's you're not listening. You're like you say, yeah, that's pop. But there's
Yeah.
people that think Nickelback are a heavy metal band.
There's also people that think Trump won the election.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, a lot of them.
look where we are.
A lot of
Yeah.
them.
So in following that, a lot of people can be wrong.
Right. I'm not saying that they're correct in their assumptions, but I'm saying that you need to make some type of differential to separate what something is, because there's that thing of like, you know, the Netflix suggestions. It's like you watched what's something on Netflix that's like a pretty hard movie. You know, like I Saw the Devil was on Netflix for a long time. You watch I Saw the Devil, and then Netflix suggests Home Alone to you. Like, you know what I mean? Like both of those films have segments of action in them.
Oh no, both of those are hardcore violent movies.
Yes, hardcore nudity.
Just one is cartoon violence and the other is real. No, what I mean by hyper categorizing is like to the point where it's like you're arguing over I can't I don't even know how far to get into it. Like there's punk, there's hardcore punk, there's pop punk. Do you need more than that?
I mean, in theory,
folk punk I can go with, because
in theory no. I mean, you kind of cover all your bases. Like, and like we'll use the heavy metal assumption, because I think a lot more of our, not a lot, but a good chunk of our listeners probably listen to at least some heavy metal music. Like there is like kind of like your generalized metal stuff that you could just call like Iron Maiden and like stuff like that is just like, and Motorhead, that's heavy metal.
Yeah.
Black Sabbath. Okay, yeah, heavy metal.
Right.
Even though, you know, not, you know, heavy metal today is, you say Black Sabbath, they're obviously, they don't look anything alike, but, or, you know, like bands like Ghost, like those bands are heavy metal. Okay. And then you can get into the heavier stuff, and you could throw a whole bunch of stuff under the like death metal genre, you know, stuff, classic stuff like Obituary and stuff like that. But then you could also be like, because I remember, and this is a conversation I know we've had on the show before, when I used to play music, and people in like my family or Melissa's family would be like, oh, what type of music are you? And I'd be like, oh, we're a hardcore band. And they'd be like, oh, hardcore, like Disturbed? No.
Well, that's your opportunity to educate them and be like, no, Disturbed isn't hardcore.
But then I named 20 hardcore bands, and they're like, I have no idea who any of those.
But but see, that's not good as well. You gotta name something close to something they'd know.
People think though that they don't listen to that type of stuff, and they're like, oh, well, Disturbed is the heaviest stuff I listen to, so to me that's hardcore.
Right. And then, but that's the opportunity for education, for musical education.
Hey, Dustin's in the chat room, and he wants to interview us on his podcast. I don't know if you can afford me, Dustin. Chris,
yeah, it's cost a whole $0.
You can book Chris, and he'll show up 45 minutes after your start.
Two today, because I was in bed.
You were in bed?
I was in bed. Listen, all right, my schedule now is going to be from 6 to 2 in the morning, so I'm trying to shift my schedule.
Okay.
And I didn't realize what time it was.
Okay.
So there you go. I'll give you this one.
All right, fair. But yes, Dustin, yeah, I mean, we'll come on your show. If you want both of us together, you want each of us on a different episode because the less time I have to spend with Chris, the better.
Oh, shut up. You want this. So I'm looking up under heavy metal genres.
Heavy
right?
metal genres. Korn.
So there's funk, new, and rap for derivatives of alternative metal.
All right, so those are all listed. Funk, rap, new.
Okay, sorry. I got into the subcategories. So it's all alternative metal.
Alternative metal, okay.
Right? And then it's funk, new, and rap.
Funk, all listed under alternative metal.
Yes. Then there's avant-garde metal, which I would assume would be like what, Dream Theater?
Like that's prog metal.
Yeah.
Dream Theater's prog metal, so I don't know. Avant-garde is, I guess, anything outside of the box.
Yeah, because there's no prog metal listed later. Then there's black metal.
Yep.
And the derivatives of that.
That's my black metal voice.
National Socialist black metal, red and anarchistic black, blackened heavy metal, symphonic black metal, blackened screamo, war metal, and black gaze.
Yes. So I think, and all of those being under the black metal genre, I understand that because all of those things sound very different, and we're live on YouTube and Facebook. Otherwise, I would play some examples for you guys, but I'm sure the second I dial up a Death Heaven song, we'll get shut down. But like, I can understand that in the way you are going to explain the differences in sounds, because there's just stuff like Mayhem that is just like old school black metal that's just lo-fi, plods along and just kicks you in the balls. But then there is, the like atmospheric and black gaze black metal, which is your stuff like your Death Heavens is probably the biggest band in that genre, or stuff like Boss De Nagi or Karg, Violet, Cold. Like those are all bands that build soundscapes that that like a Mayhem or a Emperor doesn't really have, at least not in their early stuff. Some of those bands kind of open their sound up. So I understand that in trying to like, I like black metal. And if you're talking to somebody, I think this is kind of maybe the point you were trying to get to, where if you're talking to somebody that's into it and you want to kind of explain a little bit deeper, that's kind of where I think those explanations come in. But to like someone like my wife, all black metal, it's all this. Well, actually, no, that's not true, because she's like, I really like Death Heaven, except for the fact I don't like when he sings. She's like, musically.
That's me for a lot of death metal.
Yeah, she's like, musically, I can get into it and I can feel it, but she's like, vocals are just not something she's into.
Yeah, because that sounds like a badly voiced monster in a cheesy movie.
I mean,
to me.
Yeah, I mean, Cannibal Corpse sounds like Cookie Monster, so like,
cookie metal.
Cookie metal.
Chocolate chip cookie metal.
Put your dot buff.
And then we have Doom, which is probably the one I would like the most out of all of it.
Speaking of Doom metal, let's give a shout out to Dwal from Norway, our good buddy Bjornar's band. They put a record out in 2020. Make sure you check it out. DWAAL, Dwal. They are available on Spotify all over the world. Look them up on Facebook and Instagram. Bjornar is a friend of ours. But you know what? I don't even care that he's a friend of ours. The band kicks ass. So that's what's important, is that the band's really good. Not whether you're a nice person.
So not even to go through all the subcategories, the main categories that are left are folk, and this is all followed by metal, glam, gothic, grindcore, grunge, industrial, kawaii, Latin, metalcore, neoclassical, new Dutch.
Dutch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that is crossover style that is influenced by new German wave, alternative metal, and groove metal, combining it with elements from industrial, electronica, and techno. Whoa. Post metal, power metal, progressive, speed, symphonic, which I enjoy, symphonic and speed, and thrash. I grew up on thrash. Traditional, and then this weird one, see also. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Dick.
But then when you get into the breakdowns of it, it's
breakdowns are the best part.
Sometimes it feels like in progressive, you got progressive metalcore, space metal, and gent.
Gent's like the new thing. Well, it's not new anymore,
Yeah.
but like that's kind of like that was like the hot thing.
Yeah, I
Like,
don't mind that one.
I mean, it sounds to me it's just like heavy prog, a lot of Gent
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. I don't really go. That's the thing with me is I don't really go with the labels of the music. I just will listen to it, and if I like it, then I like it. I don't really seek out, because like okay, so Spotify will be like, oh, you like Ghost? Yeah, here's some stuff that's like Ghost, and I listen to it. I'm like, no, I don't like that. My music taste is very, very particular.
You do
It's
have a
very
very particular
strange.
music taste, whereas I'm super discerning with my music. I'll listen to anything.
Mm.
Whether I go back to listening to it a second time is a different story, but I'll give anything a spin.
I think for me, the main factor for whether or not I'm gonna like it is if I like the singer's voice and style, which is probably why I don't like the fake voices that black metal puts out.
Right.
So
I was just trying to. I was jumping on my Spotify. I was gonna pull up my. You know how they make that created list for you? They'll like, check these out this week. I was gonna try to pull it up to see just how off it is, but I can't even find it for some reason.
So the thing is, like, Spotify can't quantify why or base anything off of why I like Ghost. I like Ghost because it's fun to listen to. It doesn't take itself seriously. It's got that kabuki theater thing going on with the makeup and everything, and it's just light.
Right.
But they have great hooks, and I love the stereotypical satanic lyrics. It's just it should be a subgenre of heavy metal called Scooby-Doo metal. Honestly, because it feels like a walking Scooby-Doo episode.
Right.
And it's their whole deal that I like.
Yeah, I think Ghost is garbage.
That's fine.
I do. I was into that first record when it kind of first came out, but the whole shtick kind of wore on me.
See, I don't listen to them every day or even every week. Like if a song pops up, I'm like, oh, there we go.
No, and I can understand that. Like, to me, like, I think the perception of Ghost, and now since I'm not a fan. I don't know whether I'm way off base on this, and if I am, I apologize. But I feel like the perception of Ghost within their fan base is that they're this like crazy, sick heavy metal band, and I listen to them, and I'm like,
really,
and I'm like, it sounds like the fucking Blue Oyster Cult, or like it doesn't, like it's all very almost operatic at points, and like, and it comes across very cheesy to me, and I know that's. I think part of the appeal.
For me, it is. Yeah.
We had this discussion when we talked about baby metal too, because I can't stand baby metal either, but I love poppy. So it doesn't make any sense to me because I feel like those two, although kawaii metal is a very different thing than what poppy is doing. Poppy is kind of mixing industrial and new metal and kind of metalcore into this weird like amalgamation of pop, which is in that kind of same world as that baby metal and kawaii metal stuff, but it doesn't come off as cheesy. It still comes off cheesy, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But like I feel like when poppy does this like heavy metal, like heavy like new metal breakdowny part, and then it transitions into like it transitions into a full on like Beach Boys sound. Like it sounds like the Beach Boys. And like that to me is way more interesting than what baby metal does, is where they keep that metal aesthetic throughout their entire sound, and it actually gets to me. I find it gets boring coming from a dude that loves fucking youth crew hardcore. That's like the main, like that's ridiculous that I could even think that, because every youth crew hardcore thing's the same thing.
But that's the thing. That's why you can't. I don't think a program can really nail someone's musical taste.
No, I agree. Especially unless they only listen to one thing, and like, they only listen to
I only listen to bands that were around when Skid Row was around playing that type of music.
All glam metal, or maybe like all you listen to was like mid-90s grunge.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But the segue that I was attempting to make with that was that our year-end music show is coming up. Top 20 albums of the year. Sunday, December 27th. It's invite only.
Mm.
It's invite only. You're not going to be able to watch it on YouTube. You're not going to be able to watch it on Twitch or our Facebook page. You're going to have to get the invite info from moi. Or if you know one of the other hosts that are going to be on the show with us. And I could give it to Chris too, and he'll give it to you maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Well, maybe. Yeah, I could.
Maybe. But Sunday, December 27th, starting at 6 p.m., top 20 albums of the year. Myself, me,
Yes.
my wonderful and beautiful wife, Melissa, and my wonderful, one of my best friends, Bro, will be here. No Emily this year. I know a lot of people are upset about that. But, she said, with pandemic, she was listening to a lot of what she called comfort food. And didn't really listen to a whole lot of new stuff this year, and I can appreciate that. Does not help my year-end music show in any way, but I can still appreciate it. So, if you are interested, if you're in our Patreon, you've already gotten the invite. We posted it on the page, and we also sent out a message. So that's where that is. If you're on the Patreon, you already got the information. If for some reason you can't find it, hit me up. Let me know. Patreon.com/OutsideTheCinema. If you're one of our regular listeners and you're interested in watching the show live, and again, the only way to watch the show is going to be live. There will not be an on-demand of it after the fact like we're doing now. There will be an audio available of it only on our Patreon. So if you're not a member of our Patreon and you want to listen to and or watch the show, you're going to have to do it live. So hit us up, outsidethecinema@gmail.com. Email or hit me on slide up into my DMs on Instagram @OTCBill. Feel free to jump in there and say, hey, listen, I'd like to be able to watch the end of your show. Great. Virtual studio audience. Boom. Here's your invite. Real simple. But again, it's not we didn't release last year's to the public, and it's just available in Patreon. So you need to go into that if you want to check it out. Sound good?
Sounds good to me.
Good. Let's talk about some more holiday horror movies, Chris. We have to be on point today. I have to drive Travis to karate, so we have to be done on time for once. All right.
Oh, we're usually done on time.
Well, it's because I shut the show down when it hits 3:30.
Yeah, that's
I just say,
time
to go, say bye, and you go, bye, and then we just shut the feed down.
That's it.
Okay. Which one of these do you want to start? So we got All the Creatures Were Stirring, 2016. 2018, and Better Watch Out, 2016. As we said, both of those are available to watch on Shudder exclusively. One is an anthology film. One is a demented take on a Christmas film, I guess. What do you want? Yeah, what do you want to start with?
Let's do the Babysitter.
Let's do the Babysitter. Better Watch Out. Directed by Chris Peckover. Chris Peckover, if you don't know his name, he directed one of the better found footage, kind of underrated, under the radar. He directed Undocumented back in 2010, which I know, I don't think we ever talked about on the show, but it's basically a found footage documentary crew is accompanying a group of undocumented immigrants that are trying to cross the border from Mexico into the U.S. They're filming it all. The plans run afoul, as the synopsis says, and they're captured by a gang of radicals in New Mexico. Very underrated. I don't ever hear anyone talk about it. It is quite good.
What's it called again for everybody?
Undocumented.
All right.
Little on the nose with the title, but hey.
That's what you want.
Sometimes that's what you need.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's what you need. So Chris Peckover wrote and directed that. He directed this. This is written by Zach Kahn. I think Chris Peckover also had a hand in the writing of the screenplay of it. We have got Olivia DeLonge as Ashley. You will remember her from what the heck was the movie I saw her in?
Was she in The Visit or something?
She was in The Visit. Yes, thank you. I was waiting for it to load. Yes, she was in The Visit, which is also found footage. Isn't it? Isn't The Visit found footage? That's that Shyamalan, M. Night Shyamalan movie, right?
It feels like it should be. Yeah.
Trying to remember. Maybe it wasn't. I thought it was. They went to visit the grandparents and they ended up being like cannibals or something weird, right?
It was not that, but yes.
Something like, but that's like kind of like, yeah, either way, whatever.
Yeah.
Levi Miller plays Luke. He played Pan in Peter Pan. He played Peter in Pan.
I don't know why they keep making Peter Pan movies.
I don't either, but he's been in a bunch of. He was in like Wrinkle in Time and like a number of other things. And then we also have Ed Oxenbould. We have Aklis Mikik and Doc Ray Montgomery, and then Virginia Madsen and Patrick Warburton play the parents in the kind of just like cameo type roles.
Yeah, beginning and end.
Yeah. So this story of this one, pretty simple, quiet suburban street. You know, you got a babysitter coming to work a babysitting job for a 12-year-old who's really at the point in your head, you're like, this kid probably doesn't need a babysitter.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, he gets
because he sleepwalks. That's
what
the main thing,
he
right?
Sleepwalks, yeah. So she's, watching him, and then, there's intruders in the house, and then it is not the normal home invasion. It turns out to be not the normal home invasion that you would think it is.
Yeah.
So, okay, I think we're going to have to tread lightly and save spoilers for a little while. Because I didn't know where this movie was going, and I'm glad that I didn't know where this movie was going. So, I'm going to say maybe if you haven't seen it, check it out before listening to this, because we're going to try to keep from spoiling anything in the front end, but I'm going to be honest, it's going to be tough to review this without kind of spoiling the twist that comes in. The twist comes only like a half hour into it.
Yeah, I think we should just give a general spoiler warning, because that's going to be difficult to not talk about.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Okay, so if you haven't seen it, you've been warned. There's a really good chance we're going to spoil this for you. Apologies if we do.
Well,
no, I mean, I don't want it. I don't ever want it. I mean,
no, I'm kidding.
Black Christmas 2017, I was all in for spoiling. And then on those really bad Krampus movies from last week, I was like, I want to ruin this for anyone that could possibly try to watch it. But this is a spoiler alert. It's a good movie. So,
true.
All right. Do you want to start, Chris, at the top of it?
Sure. We get introduced to our main guy, who is a 12-year-old boy, because Luke. He says he's going to be 13, and he's a dick. He just treats his friend like shit. All they're doing is having your presidential locker room talk going on while they're playing video games. He's throwing shit at his friend. Basically, he wants to fuck his babysitter. Yep.
And looking at her, I understand.
I get it. But the kid's a crass asshole.
He's a 12-year-old. At least at the beginning of this, I'm like, oh, this kid's tween action doesn't, understand the subtlety it takes to
he's got no woman. Chill.
He's got no game.
No.
But it's very obvious from early on that the mother and father, maybe not so much the father, but the mother babies him.
Yes.
Exorbitantly. So he's definitely got that sense of entitlement instilled in him, and it's very obvious.
Yeah, he'll have a protector no matter what, that kind of stuff. So she comes over. It seems like the father and the babysitter have a consensual, like, flirty thing, because she's not weirded out by him saying how nice she looks and stuff, when in the trailer it comes off as super creepy.
Agreed. I got the feeling that she's been babysitting for them for quite a long time, and there is like a healthy, like,
they got inside jokes.
Yeah, there's like a healthy relationship built with the family, because she's obviously not making crass jokes with the mother, but like they seem all very at ease with each other.
Yeah. So that was I had watched the trailer to get an idea of what it was, just so I could get in the right frame of mind, because sometimes now I do need to do that. And when I saw that in the trailer, I'm like, oh god, is this gonna be where the tick tries to lay the babysitter? Come on.
Yeah,
and it wasn't.
The trailer is absolutely a bait and switch. I watched the trailer afterwards, actually. And then I was like, oh, okay, so they totally fool you with the trailer. And then I flipped through some of the reviews on IMDb, and a lot of people were like, I watched the trailer for this, and then I watched the movie, and it fucking sucked. It was so different. And I actually was on the opposite side of that, whereas I like where the movie went as opposed to what they presented in the trailer. Continue, sir.
Yeah. So the kid's got a plan to basically get to second base or whatever with the girl. The girl, you see clearly, she's on the phone with the boyfriend. Once she shows up, they're sort of arguing, but not really. It's just a tense conversation. And so he's gonna try to Netflix and chill with her with a horror movie, and it does not work, does not go well, and he is pissed about that.
because he is a spoiled brat.
Yeah, he wants what he wants, and from there it goes downhill. So here's your chance to jump out
Oh,
of
totally unrelated.
listening.
Or not totally unrelated. I'm sorry to interrupt, but
Yeah, yeah.
Olivia Dejon and ex Oxenbould start together as siblings in The Visit.
Yeah, so they're already comfortable with
Yeah.
each other, which is nice.
Yeah.
Because
So, but Luke is the kid she's babysitting. Ed Oxenbould is the friend.
yeah,
So, but they were brother. So the friend and the babysitter were the brother and sister duo in The Visit.
which is weird, but I get it. I get hiring people that have worked together that closely and they can come off as friends. That makes a lot of sense. I know that may sound sarcastic, but it's not. So it gets real uncomfortable after that, because this kid is wrong, like 9 ways to Sunday.
Yeah. So as they're kind of leading up to that twist that comes, it's all very benign in the way that it's presented, and and here's the thing: if we're I'll get a tiny bit ahead of myself and then immediately rewind. Like everything that happens in this movie, for the most part, is planned out by this kid from the get go.
Yeah.
So he tries to lay on the couch with her, and he kind of shit talks the boyfriend, and from what it seems, the boyfriend seems like he's kind of pushy and stuff. So you're kind of like, all right, And then she's just like, hey, listen, nothing's going to happen between us. And they set that she's like 18 and he's almost 13. Or she might be 19, but it's like a 5-year difference.
Oh, yeah.
So,
yeah, very illegal.
Very illegal at that age. Because he makes the point of saying, my dad is 5 years older than my mom.
Yeah, when you're 30, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, when you're over the age of 18, or maybe not. I personally think when you're 21
if the younger one is 18, fine. Who am I to say?
Yeah, everything's legal on the up and up. Okay, good. Moving forward.
So,
so he has got a plan, as you said, and it fails.
Yeah.
But he's got a second plan. So they start to get weird phone calls in the house. Nobody answers, and then we see somebody standing at the window,
right,
holding a phone, and then a random pizza shows up.
Yeah.
That nobody's ordered.
With mushrooms, when he specifically said anything but mushrooms.
Right. So this kid's planning is pretty in depth, because he's got an answer for everything that he's presented. So then somebody's in the house.
Yeah, and this is after multiple light up Santa scares too. The brick. It was the brick through the upstairs window.
Yeah, they're downstairs. And then, oh no, because then the friend shows up and scares them.
Right.
And then there's a smash upstairs. She goes upstairs, someone's throwing a brick through the window. Although, who threw the brick?
Now that you think about it, how did that happen?
I was going to say, who threw the brick through the window? Because the friend is already in the house.
Yeah.
And then the two of them are together. I don't know. He had a bunch of stuff set up too, so
it could have just been on a string or something.
That might be splitting hairs. That's probably splitting hairs. But so they go up, and they're like, "Oh shit, what's going on?"
Right.
So she asks Garrett to get on the internet, because at this point they found that none of their phones work.
Right.
The internet is out. He's like, "Find a way." Find a way.
Contact the police.
Yeah. And he's like, what the hell am I supposed to do? She's like, I don't know. You're a fucking nerd. Figure it out.
Yeah.
And he's like, thanks. Great. So he then comes downstairs and shows them, hey, on the back it says, if you leave, you die.
Right.
And so they're trying to figure it out. And then they see somebody outside, and the kid basically the friend tries to make a run for it. And he goes outside, and we see him get shot in the backyard.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of red on the ground.
A lot of red on the ground. So we assume that whoever was out there is watching them and shoots him.
Right.
So then they go upstairs and they're running, and then they see another person coming into the house, and they see them in the hallway. So they hide in the attic, and then she's got this fear of spiders. So a spider hides on her, or a spider doesn't hide on her.
Spider's hiding from the guy with the shotgun.
Right. And the whole time, the kid she's babysitting is like, "Hey, let me go get my dad's gun. I'll take care of this. Don't worry. I got you covered, girl." And that's when I was kind of like, this kid has got balls for what's going on. And the whole time I'm watching it, and I'm like, I fucking hate these two. They're both making terrible decisions. Like, what is this kid doing? Just shut up. Like, and then like, he gets the gun and they're hiding in like the closet or whatever. And the guy comes in holding the shotgun and he's got a ski mask on.
Right.
And because Olivia is a normal functioning 18-year-old, 19-year-old girl, she recognizes the ski mask as the same ski mask from the family photos downstairs and is like, hey, that's your ski mask.
Right.
All right. Last chance. We're spoiling things. What happens, Chris?
Very boldly, she kicks her way out of the closet after she scares the shit out of herself with a mask hanging over a hoodie and she just straight up punches it.
Yep.
Like gut reaction. So I'm like, all right, good. She's she quite possibly can take care of herself through this whole thing. And she kicks her way out and starts yelling at the dude with the flashlight and the shotgun. And he doesn't threaten her. He doesn't do anything. He just like slumps his shoulders and takes off the mask. And it's the friend that we thought was dead.
Yep.
I'm going to be honest. At this point in the movie, the way the kid was babied by the parents, I thought it was the parents in on it.
Okay. I didn't get that.
That I thought it for the closet scene. I thought, okay, the parents are in on this to get the two of them together because they really like her.
No, I never got that feeling at any point.
I didn't say it was a feeling, it was just a thought.
Right. That thought never crossed my mind. What they got me though, like, because I was watching it and it was like, I don't know, probably 28 minutes into it, and I was like, there's another hour. How are they going to keep this up for an hour? Like, we're already, because I was like, wow, this shit is moving fast. I'm like, an hour and 2 minutes left. I'm like, how are they gonna sustain this for an hour and 2 minutes if like they're already in the attic hiding or in the closet hiding? And then they threw that curveball, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. And then I'm like, okay, where's it going to go? And then I was thinking, okay, so now there's going to be a real home invasion that's going to happen. And that's not where they go with it.
No, I thought, because it says one of the descriptions is it gets more bizarre as the night goes on. And I'm like, oh, great. So it's Christmas. So what are we going to get? Little gremlin looking elves, or is like something supernatural going to happen? No. It's this kid's watched Funny Games a few too many times, and instead of invading somebody else's house, he invites a bunch of people in.
Yeah, this kid
This
kid turns out to be major league sadistic.
Yeah, he's he is gonna be a serial killer.
Well, he already is, probably. Because so the whole ruse was that they were gonna fake this home invasion to get Ashley to, like, I don't know what he thought, like, and she makes this quote at some point. She says, or not necessarily quote, because I don't think I'll get the quote right, but she says, what type of person, I think she calls him an infant. She goes, what type of infant stages a home invasion to get to second base?
Yeah.
So like his whole idea was that he was gonna play the hero and she was gonna just fall into his arms. And she very much is like, yeah, that wouldn't have happened anyway. That's just not how, that's not how life works.
No, it wouldn't have. But that's how it worked in that movie Speed.
That's true.
So you see that happen enough and you're impressionable and stupid. You think, yeah, well, maybe. Why not?
Right, yeah. I get that mindset. But especially when we start to realize just how off his rocker the kid is.
Yeah.
So, so at this point, then she's like real pissed at them. As
Yeah.
to be expected, because when they were up in the attic, there was this point when the spider gets on her, she almost falls back down through the attic door to the floor, and she's like, I almost broke my neck.
Yeah.
She's like, don't you understand that, like, I legitimately almost broke my fucking neck? And he's like, oh, I'm sorry, I just wanted to impress you. And then she's like, I'm calling your parents. This is over and this is done with. She's like, Garrett, get the fuck out of here, and this is over. So she storms out of the room, and he chases her out of the room. Ashley. And he's like, just wait. And this is the point where you realize, okay, shit's fucked. And she stops and turns at the top of the stairs and goes, what? And he just fucking punches her in the face, and she falls down the stairs. And I'm like, oh, now she's dead. So now where are we going to go? Because she definitely takes a tumble down the stairs. And I'm like, there's no way she didn't break her neck.
Right.
You know, but she didn't. So
no, there's no blood. So
well, she's got some cuts and some bruises.
No, but like she's not bleeding severely from her head like you'd expect.
Right. So she bounces her way down the stairs like a super ball. And then we're reintroduced to her, you know, with the foggy eyes opening up, and Luke and Garrett basically jawing at each other, and Garrett being like, dude, what the fuck are we supposed to do now? What the hell did you do? What's going to happen? My mom's going to kill me. Like, there's nothing better in a movie. Actually, I mean, I don't know about that, but I mean, one of the things I love in a movie is when you have kids that do really dumb things, and they do that. Oh, my mom's going to kill me. Like,
I love that like in Scream. In
Yeah.
the first Scream. That was the best.
Getting blood all over the place.
That was so unexpected.
Yeah. So she wakes up, and now they've got her tied to a chair. They got her duct taped to a chair. And he basically, now he's holding a gun because he had gotten the father's gun, and it's just basically like, well, you know, like, I don't, and even at that point, he's still playing that I don't know what we're going to do, even though he knows exactly what they're going to do.
Oh yeah. He's got the plans.
Yeah. And I don't think we need to go through each plan, but let's just say like he gets her ex-boyfriends in on it.
Mm-hmm.
They end up paying a price. His friend ends up paying a price, and he tries to get it all wrapped up into a nice little package at the end of it.
His wrap up, I thought was pretty good.
It was. And what I liked was he's trying to figure to make sure he's remembering things that he forgot, and being like, oh shit, what about such and such? But as it plays out, you know, it's like, and they bring more people into it. It stays very interesting, and just at every point where you're like, okay, I'm done with this character, they knock it up, they knock him off, and bring another character into it.
Right.
And like the boyfriend is just certifiably a scumbag. Like, he's like
the ex-boyfriend or
the current boyfriend. They're both kind of scumbags, but the current boyfriend. And there's a really good point too, where Luke says to her, "Why do you always date these scumbags? That you're too good for these people. Like, why?" And he names them. He's like Ricky and Jeremy, and he's like, "You're too good for these people." And she's just like, she's like, it's none of your business. She's like, I make my own decisions. But like when Jeremy shows up, he's at the door, and he's like, hey, she told me to come over.
Yeah.
And he's like, what? And Luke is like, well, you can't come in. And he's like, why not? And he's like, she called me and told me to come. Well, she doesn't want to see you, blah, blah, blah. And I really didn't like how he just like forced his way into the house. Like that, something about that bothered me. He like forced his way into the house. He doesn't know these kids or anything, and he's just like pushes his way into the house, and then is like, "Oh, you guys got pizza," and just takes a piece of pizza.
Yeah,
and it's like, but
it sets up his character right away. As he thinks he's better than the little kids. He doesn't see the kid as a threat, really.
Right. But like that's still like, it's breaking and entering, like, you know, essentially.
That's true. That's true.
So needless to say, though, then he gets involved in it, and then they like kind of unrail the plan of like, oh, you know, well, I'm going to call your other boyfriend Jeremy, and he's going to show up, and then like all shit kind of gets crazy. But I'll say that Ashley is the glue that holds everything together. She's a good actress. She plays kind of like that damsel in distress, but also final girl role. So it's kind of like both sides of it. And she does a really good job in both of them, because she's keeping her shit together. There's a part where she's tied to the chair, or taped to the chair, or whatever, and Jeremy is like, oh, I don't know what we're gonna do. And she's like, just shut up, don't worry, I'm gonna get us out of this. And she starts to cut herself loose, and he's like, oh. Like she's in control, and he's like, I don't know what we're gonna do. And like he's like, oh, just leave me here. Like, because like anyone would do that. You would just leave the person. I mean, some people probably would, but I would. I mean, obviously I wouldn't. I would try to help whoever's there with me. But like it plays itself out very smartly. I like that they do a lot of references to Home Alone.
Yeah.
In terms of like some of the gags in it. Not the gags, but like the murder, like one of the murders is completely Home Alone based, and you're
Yes.
like, okay.
And what I really liked, the choice of paint color
Yep.
that was used. The spider obviously was a Home Alone thing. My favorite thing about the whole movie was when the ex-boyfriend shows up, and they don't even need to do character development on him because of the internet.
Yeah.
He shows up in a puffy coat,
Flat
and
backwards hat.
The backwards hat with the logos, that's $ logos instead of the Louis Vuitton logo on it.
Yep.
He's the douchebag guy from the meme. Literally.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's like completely.
Yeah. And then it's just like, okay, I know who he is. No further definition to character required. She left because he's an asshole. Gotcha.
Yeah, exactly.
That was just really funny. And because of how he was dressed, you're like, yeah, all right, do what you got to do to him.
Right.
Although I will say his death was very visceral and extremely violent.
Yeah, I was gonna say
this sold that.
Yeah, this movie is a much harder R than I expected it to be. Like, there's a lot of swears. There's a lot of violence. I mean, we haven't released it to the public yet, but if you're a Patreon listener, you might have already listened to our I Saw the Devil review that we just did. I mean, it's not violence on that level, but it's definitely like, oh shit, like, yeah, this film is not pulling punches. This is not a PG-13 horror movie. This is not a Black Christmas 2019. This is absolutely an R-rated horror film.
Yeah.
Or thriller. It's not really a horror film. It's more a thriller, I guess.
Because it's all kids, you expect it to be a little bit lighter, a little cartoony.
Exactly. I was watching it, and Travis came in and asked me something about his schoolwork. And he's like, what are you watching? I'm like, oh, it's a Christmas horror movie. And he looks at it and he goes, this is a horror movie? And I'm like, do you want to stick around? And he goes, nope. He's like, I'll take your word for it.
Because really, just wait 10 seconds.
I know, right? So, with that said, Christopher, do you recommend, and what is your grade for Better Watch Out?
I will recommend this. I really wasn't sure I was going to like it when it didn't turn out to be supernatural, and it was just a straight up a home invasion movie. Because I don't know what you call that. It's a kidnapping movie, basically. Except he doesn't go out and actually kidnap anybody. He actually lures them. It's a Pied Piper movie. Because it's basically, you like this girl? Come on over. And all the dummies are like, oh, okay, yeah, here I go. I'll give it a B+. It kept me guessing, and I was surprised in the end with how everything went. And I was satisfied with the ending, and that's all I'll say about the very end.
Cool.
Did you get the after the credit part?
I did, yes. I did.
Okay.
I did.
Okay.
I'm going to recommend it also. It's good. It's good. I love that they kept the Christmas theme throughout. It played a part in the story, which I feel gives it the credence to be a Christmas horror movie. Because as we've said, there's been a number of ones that we've watched where they essentially just use the Christmas motif for a single part of the movie to be able to pull you in. I mean, and 2 of them were Krampus movies, which is a strictly Christmas thing, but yet there's no, like, they're not Christmas films. But this definitely pulls in all of those kind of little details. It's Christmas time. There's snow outside. Also filmed entirely in Australia. By the way, the entire cast was Australian except for Patrick Warburton and Virginia Madsen, who played the parents. But all the other actresses actors and actresses, actors and actress, because there's only one other female, all Australian, which I thought was pretty interesting.
Okay.
But they definitely got suburban white privilege America looking pretty legit. So
yeah, I'm guessing it's not that much different than white suburban privileged Australia.
probably not.
Yeah.
Probably not. But
The only difference is those doorknobs.
right, exactly.
I love that. I love how high that's like normal height for me for opening a
Yeah,
doorknob.
but you're also
Opening a door.
also freak. So, yeah. So no, I'm giving it a recommend. I thought it was good. I mean, it's not world changing.
No, but it's
good.
fun.
It's solid, very solid. If you're looking to watch Christmas horror movies, this is definitely one to fit into the rotation. So
Yeah.
I'm going to give it a. I'm not going to grade it as high as you. I think a B+ is giving it a lot, but I'll give it.
Oh, did I say B+?
You did.
Yeah. Okay, I'll stay with that.
All right, I'm gonna give it a B-.
Mm.
B- bordering on B.
Okay.
It's good. It's not great. Very solid. But
That's fair.
in the pantheon of the Christmas horror movies, it's one of the better ones we've seen.
It is.
So
Yeah.
one of the better ones we've seen. Which brings us to the next one.
Mhm.
Did someone say Christmas anthology?
I don't know. Can you say that again?
Christmas anthology?
Well, Mr. Tyson,
It's just a Christmas anthology. I'm gonna beat it senseless.
and then eat it.
And then chew on its ear.
That's where he gets all his protein.
Did you ever watch Mike Tyson Mysteries on Adult Swim?
A couple times, yeah.
It's good. I like it. Did anyone say Christmas anthology? Because I feel like we've watched a bunch of them. All the Creatures Were Stirring, 2018. Written and directed by David Ian McKendry and Rebecca McKendry. As I said at the top of the show, Rebecca is best known as the co-host of the Shockwaves podcast. And now her and Elric do another show. I don't actually know what it's called, to be honest. But if you look up Shockwaves, you'll find them. And her brother David. This is a anthology film based around Christmas. The wraparound story is a nuevo Christmas play, I guess. Is nuevo a word?
Nuevo means new in Spanish, doesn't it?
Sure. Mas
It's,
nuevo.
You're looking at like almost like when you have interpretive dance, it's almost like that. It's like minimalist theater.
Right.
With-
Yes.
And really that's just used to give you the opening setting or hint at something that's going to happen in the short that you're seeing.
Right. It's okay, so
Yeah, I want to see where you go with this.
I had seen this before, so this is the second time.
Oh,
I've
you
seen
had?
this. Oh yeah, I saw it in Knoxville.
Oh, right.
The dog definitely just beefed everywhere. Dog, your butt smells so bad.
That's why I'm airing it out.
Oh. Anyway, yeah, I had seen this before, and I saw it in a pretty full theater. So I think it played very differently than when I watched it at home.
Okay.
And I think the way to kind of put this is that much like most anthology films, there are hits and there are misses. So that wraparound story of that like modern art type play, we're introduced to our first connection to Krampus.
Yes.
Oh man, I can taste that dog. He's just asleep on the couch. Just oh man, wow. But the director of the play, the one that comes out and switches the cards,
Yes.
was an actress named Maria Olsen.
Right. Who you would recognize from a bunch of stuff.
A bunch of stuff, but she was in that really bad Krampus Origins movie we watched last week. She played the like Mother Superior type character.
She was Sister Rapist.
Sister Rapist.
It was actually Rapist, but if you listen to these kids say it, she's Sister Rapist.
Yeah.
Or Sister Rape Us. I mean, that could be where we're going with a little nod to the indiscretions of the Catholic Church.
Yeah, for sure. So we meet Graham Skipper, who plays Max, and we meet Ashley Clements, who plays Jenna. And They are on a first date on New Year's Eve, or excuse me, on Christmas Eve, and they're going to see this weird, bizarro modern art play. And basically, so you have Marie Olsen walks out dressed like a fucking weirdo.
She seems like a real life Who from Whoville, the way her hair is brushed.
Right, but she's dressed like in all dark colors.
Yes,
So
she's a Whoville Nazi.
Yeah, so she has these cards that have the name of each segment, and then there's like these modern art actors that come out and interpret the story, but we see the actual story, like the film of the story, and that's each short. And there is what, five? I think five.
Oh, was there? Yeah, that sounds right.
5 or 6. 5. Well, we'll go through them. So the first one is you got a group of people in an office building on the last day before. I guess it's supposed to be Christmas Eve. They're getting together to do their Christmas party.
Yep.
And someone has during their Yankee swap, or their during the Yankee swap, has put murderous gifts into the pile. We learned that by one of the people. I think it was Matt Long, if I'm not mistaken. No, Matt Long was in the second one. I don't know. There's a lot of character actors in this that you'll recognize. If you watch a lot of independent horror movies, there's a lot of people you'll recognize.
Yeah.
And I think that's because Rebecca's in that kind of crew in LA with a lot of those people. Like Graham Skipper's probably the most recognizable, but like you'll recognize a lot of faces in this. So one of the guys, he opens up the box and it just shoots him in the head.
Yeah, first gift.
Second gift, actually. The first gift was the balsamic vinegar. Oh
shit! Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So
he should have taken it.
Yeah. So then they find out they're locked in this office room, and someone is playing a sadistic game with them, where they each have to open a present, and if they survive, they'll be able to stay. They'll be able to live. But if they don't, they are dead. If they survive, they live. If they don't, they are dead.
Yeah. That's how it works.
And in order to get his point across, he starts piping a gas into the room to be like, you better start opening presents or this gas is going to get you.
Right.
So kind of deteriorates from there, right?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know? I mean, the story, like things deteriorate in the story.
Oh, this one story or the whole movie?
No, I'm talking about the story itself.
Well,
Never
I'm
mind.
making sure.
Never mind.
Jesus
Jesse Merlin's there looking like a creep as always.
Yeah.
The other gentleman, they start opening presents, and then there's like this person's sleeping with that person, and this person's got a crush on that person. And
I did like how the one girl thought she'd play it safe and picked an envelope. Like, how bad could an envelope be?
Correct.
And it's two people in the stock room making out, followed by a card where you can record your own audio of them having a good time. And I thought that was the most damaging one out of all of them. That was pretty interesting.
Yeah. So basically, they just try to survive. That's really all there is to it. The second story is the van. Tell me about the van, Chris.
The van was actually a pretty interesting idea, I thought. It's guy at the end of the shopping day who accidentally locks his phone and his keys in his car. And a van with two women in it. He approaches them to ask if they have a phone he can use so he can call AAA and his wife. And he through the phone call to AAA, he has to verify his identity. So, name, birth date, all that stuff. And the two girls, after the phone call, after they hear a little bit about him, start to be more interested in him. And you clearly get the idea that there's someone else in the van.
Yes, because you actually see them looking out the window, or you see them pull the
curtain gets
back
moved
from the van window.
Yeah, and they look like they're ready to leave, and they pull away, and then they decide to stop and come back over and give him a scarf, and they're going to be nice to him because it's cold in California. It said it was 43.
Oh yeah,
it's
freezing. Freezing.
I could be in shorts and a tank top.
It's currently 18 degrees here.
Is it?
No, it's actually like 25, but it was 18 when I got up this morning.
That's close. Well, it's getting ready for this killer storm.
Yeah, we're supposed to get like a foot of snow.
I saw 8 to 24 inches.
I saw 1 to 18 feet.
You will be right.
I will. I got a new snowblower yesterday though, so it'll be.
That's good. So they kind of disarm him. They give him some something to drink, and they just talk. And then all of a sudden, they cut his hand, smear his blood, start chanting a spell.
Yeah.
And you're like, all right, here we go. And one of the girls runs away because she thinks the spell's done, and it's not. Because
Joe in the chat room says, listen, guys, I live in Florida, and I was born and raised in PA. 43 degrees in Florida is a different kind of cold.
I know.
I ran a half marathon in 36-degree temperature in Florida, so don't fuck with me, Joe.
I don't think he's fucking with you.
No, he is. He wants a piece of me. It was 36 degrees in Orlando or Kissimmee or wherever it was, and I ran the Walt Disney World half marathon. I don't want to hear your guff. I was born in PA. I don't care. You're a Steelers fan? If you're a Steelers fan, you can go fuck yourself. If you're an Eagles fan, you can go fuck yourself.
Go Birds. Anyway.
Go Birds. If you're a Flyers fan, I got respect.
Yeah, otherwise Gritty will come visit you.
Hi, guys.
I love Gritty.
Gritty's awesome.
His Instagram is gold. So the girl gets to this edge that you hadn't seen. There's this like force field, mystical barrier, whatever. And the other one yells at her, no, it's not done yet. You're too far away. And this blackened demon is behind her and slits her throat. And that's when everybody freezes, and the other girl that's left continues the chant, and the tattoo on her wrist transfers over from her to him. And then he's like, what did you do? And she's like, sorry.
Yeah.
Basically, she pulled a ghillie. She's like, what did you do? Sorry. And what ends up happening is, because they have the same birth date of December 25th, they're the only ones that can take care of this demon. And if they leave the circle, it will kill him and the whole family, but in reverse order of what I said.
Right.
So it took them 3 years to find somebody else to basically become this thing's keeper. And it's kind of like the one from, was it Trick or Treat, where they kidnap the rich guy's son and it turns out to be a demon?
Yes.
And he's like, no, I don't want it back. It's your problem now.
Yep.
It's pretty much like that, except a lot darker, I think, because they said, oh, can you get this van within 20 feet of your children's bedroom or this other place or your job or what? His life is over until he finds someone else.
Right. Yeah. It's also got a bit of a It Follows type feel to it, I think.
Yes. I liked it. I liked that one. It pulled from enough different things that I wasn't sure where it was going to go.
Yep. I think that might be the strongest one out of the bunch.
Could be.
Then the next one after that, was the guy was like a hitman or something, and like he runs over a reindeer, and then it ends up being Blitzen. Is that what it was?
I think he was just a normal guy, like, or a PA or something, a private investigator. I mean,
all right, he was watching somebody because he had like photos and stuff that he wasn't supposed to have. Or
no, it was the girl he saw at home. They lived together.
Oh, okay.
It was definitely her.
Okay.
Because they made sure to give her the same hairstyle she had in the photos, so you'd know.
Correct.
And she was happy to see the photos and all that. And yes, he hits a deer, and then it's not dead. He pulls it to the side of the road and kills it with a rock, because that's what we're told we need to do. Yep. If it's not going to live. And then you get this flash of red on the screen, and you basically see it from another point of view. And at that point with the red, you know what's going on. What Blitzen, because you see the collar with the name, was doing standing in the middle of the road by himself or herself, I'm not sure, is a little
questionable.
Yeah.
A little questionable.
But basically then Rudolph decides to kill them.
Yeah, it's stupid. It's dumb.
You know what? It was short, so I'm like, all right, that's fine.
You're not wrong there. It was short.
If it had dragged on for 20 minutes, it would have been way too much.
Well, that's the thing that I think is good about this movie is that nothing drags on. They're all fairly short. None of them go on for too long.
Yeah, it felt like the van and the office party were the two longest.
Probably,
it
yeah.
Felt like, but I don't know for sure.
All right, then next we've got the one where we've got what's his I forget his name. The guy that hates Christmas.
Yes,
Jonathan,
it was
Jonathan Kite, Chet. He plays Chet. Jonathan Kite plays the part.
Yeah, they're basically a darker or grittier retelling of A Christmas Carol.
Yeah, boiled down to a 10-minute, 15-minute segment.
Yeah.
It's nothing special.
No, it was fine. It was the only one with a hopeful ending. I felt.
I guess. Yeah, I guess if you look at it, you look at it that way.
Because everybody survives. Nobody actually dies.
Well, no, the next one with the aliens,
the
alien abduction one, that ends on a happy note.
That's true. That's true. That one was my favorite. I'm sure you could have guessed that.
Yeah. No, and that one was solid. I like that one. That would have been probably my second favorite. You want to run through that one real quick?
That was a weird one. Because you get this starting off with a guy coming home, looking up at the moon, and then he chains himself to a trunk and blocks the front door. And then his girlfriend calls and she's like, we're all here. You can come on over. And he's like, no, not tonight. So what I really liked about this was I'm like, oh, great. So he's a werewolf on Christmas Eve. So they're all going to show up and he's going to get slaughtered. And he's not a werewolf. He is absolutely not a werewolf. And I'm like, good on you for subverting my expectations.
Yep.
So he's about to spill it all to his girlfriend. Was it Wendy? Was that her name?
No, her name was Gabby.
Oh, okay. And she's like, no, I'm gonna go outside and have a smoke. And I'm like, wow, that's rude. He was in the middle of telling you something very important, but for the plot, she has to go outside. And you get your typical large moving star, and then it breaks off into three and it spins around, bright light shines on her, and then she's inside the house at the dinner table with the other guests that came with her to surprise our main character, and they are acting strange.
Yeah, very strange.
Very rigid, very sticking to tradition, and wanting to do very specific things, and not allowing anything else. So the boyfriend comes in and he's like, oh, you're here too, huh? And she's like, that's it, I'm leaving. And she leaves, but walks right back through the same door. Another point, she walks out the front door, walks out the closet. So they're not in the house. And these aren't the friends. The boyfriend shoots all three of them, and then they sit up and they are all smiles. And the blood behind them, all the blood splatter turns to a staticky pattern.
Yep.
And they start to Max Headroom a little bit on us.
Yeah, because they definitely throw a very Twilight Zone feel into it at the beginning too, with the like static and stuff.
Absolutely.
And one of the friend that's like the main friend at the head of the table, Stephanie Drake, we know her better as Dr. Bunny Van Clit from Deep Murder.
Yeah.
Her like unassuming like frustration with, would you like to say grace? Would you like to say grace? Would you like to say, would you like to say grace? Like she,
right, yeah.
Like she gets frustrated without ever actually like raising her voice, and it's quite good.
Yeah. Yeah, I loved how that whole thing was resolved, where she goes, Jesus Christ. And they're like, thank you. Amen.
The turkey's covered in candy.
Yeah. And it was interesting because the aliens aren't malicious. They're curious.
They're studying them is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, and I really liked how when she's like, "Did you ever ask him what they want?" And he's like, "Oh no, after all these years, I never thought to ask." And then she asks them, and their faces just contort into a Grave Encounter style, but more of a gray alien screaming face, and they scream for longer than is comfortable, and the reaction is just like, "Ah, what?" Um, but they want to know why is Christmas important, and she spills it, and they're like, "Thanks." And then there's a decoration on the tree that says, "Thank you for sharing Christmas with us." And I'm like, interesting. No
Yeah,
dogs got killed.
yeah, it was a very interesting, different little take compared to the rest of the movie.
Yeah, because it is kind of like somebody from another religion wondering, why is this important?
Mm. Mm.
I liked it. I liked the idea behind it, and I liked, the comics you see on the web where it's two aliens talking to each other.
Yep.
It felt like that, because they're not fully aware of Earth customs, and I'm like, because it was basically trying to find out what makes the holiday important to individuals. Um, Her reasoning was pretty solid, and I'm like, that's nice. That's not what I expected, and it can still be classified as like a sci-fi horror kind of thing because there's an alien abduction and people get shot, and it's kind of terrifying for a little bit.
Right. So then there was one. What was the other? What was the last one? Why am I drawing a blank on the last one?
Um,
Because
Hold
that
on.
wasn't the last one, was it?
No, there was an intermission, and you had that creepy guy that was in the lobby that was pretending to read the book, got way too close to the girl.
Yep.
They come back, and there's not that many people in the place. Um,
Was the alien one the last one?
it might have been. Let me call up the IMDb one because
I'm
that
looking
should
at
give
it.
us,
I'm looking at it right now.
because the all of it is from the night before night before Christmas. All the titles of the individual segments,
What's
and
maybe that was the last one. Well, I
it
mean, I guess
it
the last
very
one is
much,
the wraparound story. But
yeah. Which that one was, I felt that was the most,
and then it's also the most unsatisfactory one when the way it ends. So okay, yeah.
yeah,
So that one ends, and if we're forgetting one, I don't think we are. I think they then do the play, and Graham Skipper's character Max, he's like or no, his name wasn't. It doesn't matter what his name was. He's sick, and he's like, I got to go. I'll be right back, and leaves the girl there. And then the creepy old guy, stares at her. But then on stage, they're doing the next play, but the play is them, the
yep,
two of them. So like right from the point where they meet at the beginning of it, what they say to each other, the creepy guy staring at them, and then it comes to the point where where he gets sick and has to get up and leave, and then it goes into what is going to happen.
right,
And
right,
they do a thing where you can overhear him on the phone talking about how he can't do it. He's sick. He needs to feed such and such, such and such. And you're
hmm
led to believe that he's some sort of, I don't know,
Christmas vampire.
yeah, something like that. A vampire or something. Doesn't. So then he comes back and then says all the things that they say in the play.
Yeah,
And like she looks away and you see his face and it's all distorted. But then he looks back and she's fine. He's fine. And then he's like, "Oh, all right, I'm starving. Let's get something to eat." And then the movie just
yeah,
ends.
yeah.
Lazy ending. Very lazy
I
ending.
I expected honestly that the creepy guy was going to be a Van Helsing type character and save her in the end, but he served no purpose except just to, as a red herring, to just throw stuff off.
Yeah, and there's a lot of things in this movie that I remember when I watched it the first time that I was just like, they just kind of throw in to kind of seem cool and interesting, but don't add anything.
Mm.
That old gentleman staring her down is one. The two twin girls that work the front,
Yeah.
like, doesn't add anything. It doesn't bring anything anywhere. The creepy The
I felt like the two girls just added to how weird this thing is that it's being done on Christmas Eve and that they actually tell the future or, you know, that
Right.
kind of stuff. It added a little surrealism to me for me, but not much.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I mean it's low budget. There's not a lot of money put into this, but I think they do a really good job with what they did have.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess we're at the point where we just. All right, Chris, you recommend, and what is your grade for All the Creatures Were Stirring?
I've watched a lot of bad anthology movies, and this is not by any stretch of the imagination as bad as some of the worst ones I've seen. It's acted very well. It's shot well. Everything looks good except maybe the Rudolph one from the red point of view. Even the some of the weaker ones like the Christmas Carol one. There's some trippy visual stuff going on. There's some trick shots and some nice stuff that in there that basically elevates it over just a straight locked in camera kind of thing.
Yeah, I can buy that. Yeah.
It definitely shows some talent behind it in front of the camera. So, yeah, I'll recommend it. I wouldn't put it first on your list, but I give it a B minus. I definitely enjoyed it. I like the anthologies because, you know, it's like New England weather. You don't like it, just wait a couple minutes.
Yeah. Yep, for sure.
Which is why maybe overall I don't like ABCs of Death, but I will watch it if they make another one because all you got to do is wait 2 minutes and you're on to the next one.
Not wrong.
So, yeah, I never see an anthology as a waste of time unless it's poorly shot and there's not a lot of care put into it. So, yeah.
What was your grade?
B minus.
B minus. Okay.
I enjoyed it. I liked adding the sci-fi in with the horror. I feel like people sometimes forget that sci-fi and horror mix extremely well. So
when done properly, it does. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna recommend it. It's a super middle of the road recommend. This movie doesn't offer you anything that you haven't had before.
That's true.
The quality of the stories is kind of uneven. I was dissatisfied with the fact that they put all the work into the wraparound and then don't really do anything with it at the end of it. I guess they did, and they wanted to kind of leave it up to your decision yourself as to what actually happens. But I think there's a couple good ones in here. The Alien one and the Van one, I think, are the two strongest. The Office one is kind of like whatever. The Rudolph one was like super whatever.
Yeah.
The Christmas Carol one, I just wasn't feeling. So I think, and the wraparound is okay to start, but again, they don't deliver on it. So it's a C. It's a C. It's a tepid. Okay. It's a tepid recommend. It's super middle of the road. If we're looking at the stuff that we've watched this month in terms of the holiday horror stuff, it's middle of the pack. I mean, it's light years better than like Black Christmas remake and like those Krampus movies, but it doesn't come close to even touching something like the Apocalypse
or Krampus.
Yeah, those are the two high watermarks so far. Or even the other. I mean, Better Watch Out, I think, is a much. Obviously, they're not both anthologies, but.
Right.
And when we watch Christmas Horror Story, that's a much stronger film than this. So, there you have it.
Okay, that's fair.
So, we're just about out of time for this week's live broadcast. So, I want to thank you guys for hanging out. So, next week we'll do what will be our final week of holiday horror flicks. So, I'm going to just try to watch as much stuff as I can, Chris.
Okay.
So, let me just pull the list up here and see what's left.
A lot.
Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff. So we'll just try to get to whatever we can get to.
Okay. It'll be a nice mix of everything that we've seen.
Yeah, we'll quick hit everything. Yeah. So basically, reminders, end of year top album show. Please go to patreon.com/outside the cinema. Sign up. You'll get the invite automatically. Otherwise, you're gonna have to email me or something. Yeah, I mean that's really it.
Yeah.
We're going to get 1.5 feet of snow tomorrow. So, that's all I'm thinking about is how much work I'm going to have to do to dig my freaking house out.
Yeah.
Hooray.
But neither of you really have to leave tomorrow to do anything, right?
No, but I mean, the longer you wait, the harder it is.
That's true.
So.
That's true.
Cool, everybody. Thank you very much for watching live, or if you're listening on Patreon, thank you for being a supporter. That's it.
Yeah.
Bye.